All right, guys, we're back. This episode, we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, this is the latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by James Gunn, also written by James Gunn. The logline here is: still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe and one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians if not successful. Look, this is a spoiler-free review. There will be a spoiler review up. We'll give people a chance to actually go out and see the movie, but look for that in the coming days as well. So, Michael, what did you think of this movie? This is the end of the Guardians trilogy. So, what did you think?
You know, anyone who has listened to us over the years knows that I infamously said that the first Guardians of the Galaxy will be the movie that breaks the MCU. It's going to fail. No one's going to like it. It's going to be too weird for them. And the first Guardians of the Galaxy is probably in my top 3 of all of these movies. I absolutely love it. The second movie is it's good. It's just not the first one, right? This third movie is, for me, this third movie is amazing. I don't know how the average moviegoer is going to feel about this if they aren't invested in these characters. Like, this is the third movie in a trilogy, and it's not like this is like a random third movie, like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is the third movie in the Indiana Jones franchise, but it doesn't really play off of the previous movies, right? You've got to kind of be invested in not only the Guardians movies, but a couple other MCU movies to really get the most out of this movie. And look, if you're listening to this, you probably are, right? And you're going to love this movie. This movie's got heart. This movie has action. This movie is, I mean, look. I teared up a little bit during this movie. It's got.
I believe what you said to me was, "Don't look at me right now."
yeah. Turn away from man. Me. See me crying. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's amazing. It's got a bunch of amazing performances. It's got a villain that is one of the most despicable characters I've ever seen in my entire life. It's great, man. It's great. It's a love letter to this particular franchise. I absolutely love it. For me, it's an A+. There are some things that I think could be dealt with, but I'll let you give your initial impressions first, and then we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I think this is top tier, right? You know, the idea that, you know, can the Marvel Cinematic Universe like get its mojo back? It's hard not to say that mojo is not there in this movie. Like, it is as good of an ending of a trilogy as you're going to get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't mean that as like a half-hearted kind of statement. I think it's fantastic. Like, for me, of the Guardians movies, Guardians 1 is the top, Guardians 2, and before this movie, that would have been the order, but I think this is actually better than the first one. It's great. Like, the performances all over are good, good to great. The story is great, and we'll get into that without spoiling anything. But as Micah mentioned, the first thing he mentioned, the movie has heart, and that's always been Gunn's ability as a writer and a director, is to seamlessly put the serious with the comedy, and just like, you're laughing at a silly joke 1 minute, and then you're like literally tearing up at something that is just so deeply heartfelt, and it builds to those moments in the proper way, right? It's not jarring, like jumping back and forth between comedy and serious. Like, he just weaves a very good tale in this movie and across the entire trilogy, right? Because you see the growth of all of these characters across those 3 movies. And they've shown in other things, but that's a big part of it.
And that's the thing with this particular trilogy is yes, each movie has a 3-act structure, but this trilogy has a 3-act structure
Yeah,
of the first movie finding, these disparate people, these loners finding themselves, finding a family, right? And then the second movie, the family is put through some strife, right? And in this third movie, the family comes together to save someone. And yeah, man, I absolutely love it. I love movies about family, be it like found families or, homegrown families.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, this and everything that is right about this movie is the reason why Thor didn't work and the reason why Ant-Man didn't work, right? Like you mentioned the tonal shifts. Thor Love and Thunder had wild tonal shifts. And this one, it has tonal shifts, but you ease into it a little more, right?
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
it's something about the writing that it just makes more sense. Ant-Man had these characters that kind of were like a little imaginative, but everything looked and felt fake. It looked like it was, and we're not dumb. Obviously these things are fake, but the trick is to make it feel like it isn't, right? And this movie has weight to it. It has creatures that look amazing, that look wildly different, like some real imagination was put on.
You've never seen some of the creature designs in this is not similar to anything you've seen in the MCU.
Yeah. I look, man. Yeah, if you're an MCU fan, this is a no-brainer. I once said a couple of weeks ago that I felt like the magic was gone, and it's back. It's back, just like that. Just like that, I'm back into the MCU, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, like it's interesting, right? Because if I had to give a criticism of this, like it's funny because a thing I had a super critique about in the beginning of the movie turned out to be one of the most shining moments of the later part of the movie, like visually, right? So one of the things I didn't like in the first, like it takes about a good, in my opinion, like it takes about a good 10 to 15 minutes to kind of catch its legs because there's just like so much going on and you're like, it feels like, whoa, okay, are we moving like too fast? Like I had the same feeling when I saw Rise of the Skywalker, right? I was like, wow, these first 15 minutes are moving really, really quickly. I hope that's not, indicative of the movie. Turns out it kind of was, right? Where it's not indicative of the movie. So it takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes to kind of catch its legs. And then it kind of it's like, okay, you establish, you understand what's happening. Now let's, get into the story like overall. And it works very, very well. But one of the things I didn't like visually in the beginning is a lot of like forced perspective, close perspective shooting. I like with a certain character, I was like, I don't like this, and I hope this is not a thing. It was clear that James Gunn was like, hey, I'm going to try this new thing that I've never done before. And I was like, this is not working for me, right? Like when that particular character shows up, and I was like, I don't care for this.
With like the fisheye lens?
I did not like it, and specifically in the the fight scenes in the beginning. I didn't like it. I didn't think it looked very good. However, the reign of Daredevil having the best hallway scene, that is over. That is fucking absolutely over. And that same shooting style is used later on, but it is used so incredibly well. I cannot believe that future MCU movies will not use that style for close quarter combat. It looks amazing. But I think he was trying to figure it out, and then he was nailed it in later scenes. I mean, just beautifully shot.
It's a wild effect, man. It's like a close up wide angle shot, and that gives a very unique effect. And there is a digitally assisted one take shot using the close up wide angle, and it's something. It's something, man. It's a visual treat.
That will be the scene, like, you know how people replay and replay and replay all the like action sequences from the Infinity Saga. This will be a scene that people replay a lot. It is fucking dope. Like, it is awesome.
Yeah, man.
And you'll know it when you see it. Like, there's no doubt about that. And it's just, to me, it's the hallway scene to end all hallway scenes. Like, it's just a badass fight scene. And it is just like you said, it's just a visual treat. Like, it's just ridiculous.
You know, the thing I love about this movie is that, you know, we've seen these characters, and the thing about franchises is that characters can have the potential to grow stale with the audience.
Sure.
And I think people, instead of, and I think what some directors do, instead of evolving the character, they just kind of keep the character the same and just ramp up the action, right? Yeah. There have been, 7 or 8 Mission Impossible movies, right? Ethan Hunt isn't developing as a character, right? No. So Tom Cruise has to jump off of skyscrapers, right?
I love those movies, but yeah, like
right.
But Ethan Hawke is right. Ethan Hawke is not a character with any
right. Ethan Hunt is not a character, right? Yeah. But in this movie, the characters have grown. Like, if you watch the first one and then the second one and then the third one, and maybe like Infinity War and Endgame in between, like, these characters have really grown and they've really matured. And even a character that like Mantis and Drax, who are just kind of buffoons in the series. Like, they're comic relief, but they're kind of buffoons. Nah, man, like they are souls, not humans, but they're souls. They are real characters with real feelings. And that's what this movie is, man. It's feels. It's feels the movie. All kinds of feels. And if you are into feels, you will be into this movie. Now, look, I don't want to butcher this man's name. He plays the High Evolutionary. Chukwudi Iwuji.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure. I don't know. So go ahead.
Look, there's always this big thing about Marvel villains, right? Because for a long time, Marvel villains were like lesser, versions of the hero, just like evil, right? Or they just didn't, or they were just like nothing burgers, right? Like Malekith, right? Like, just didn't do anything. Or they were like villains you love, you know what I mean? Like Loki, who ends up like having a face turn.
Right.
Nah, the High Evolutionary is a piece of crap. He's a piece of garbage in this movie. And he is
like, as far as like a terrible person, not a terrible character. He's a great character.
No, not a terrible character. He's a wonderful character. He's a character that you very rarely see nowadays because people want their villains to be like layered and thoughtful and, oh, well, maybe we should see it from the villain's perspective to kind of get into their mind. But nah, this guy's a piece of shit. And it's great. It's great. I mean, and the way that he is played, I'm telling you, man,
you've never rooted for someone's death more.
You've never rooted for the good guys to beat the bad guy in anything until you have seen this. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. He was a great villain. I mean, I think he's a top tier MCU villain, to be honest. And he's played in such a way of just, he has a God complex. And they don't even remotely shy away from it. Like, they don't at all. Like, he is so fucking over the top. And he was also in, for folks who watch Peacemaker, which if you haven't, you should watch that series. It was great. He was great in that too. But you were like, wow, that guy's a good actor. I like him. He is so, like, he is almost unrecognizable in how evil he is in this movie, comparative to his character in Peacemaker.
This guy understood the assignment, man. He really understood the assignment.
So, like, we need you to be a dirtbag. He was like, got it. say less. He was awesome. I loved it.
So there's one other performance I want to talk about, and it's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
I am someone who thinks that voice actors are legitimate actors. They have a certain skill set that other screen and stage actors might not be able to pull off. Bradley Cooper's the real deal, folks. He is the emotional anchor in this movie, and he delivers a phenomenal performance based purely off of voice work, with the assistance of, you know, the digital animators to animate Rocket. But it's amazing. Rocket is the emotional core of this movie, and it's pulled off masterfully. I can't say enough how much I am really, really glad that this franchise with this team is what it is, right? Like, is this the only trilogy that has had the same director for all three movies?
Well, it depends on what Black Panther does, but likely that would be the only other one.
Yeah, this is there is something to that, right? There is something to that, and characters feel consistent, and yeah.
Look, Cooper was amazing. Like, he was. I mean, he always was impressive as Rocket, just because the voice he affected for the role was like very not Bradley Cooper, which was kind of fun and like interesting. And he's always been kind of just a fun character. But in this one, like, look, I don't know how you watch this movie and don't get a little emotional. I just don't know how it happens for you. Maybe, like, I don't know, get some therapy, dude, because, like, Jesus, it should affect you.
Yeah, you should like let this, like, be into this movie.
Yeah,
let it envelop you. Like get into it. Don't sit there and be the change my mind guy. You know what I mean? Like like be into it. And if you are into this movie, if you let this movie like wash over you, you're gonna love it, man. I'm so impressed with this trilogy as a whole, and this movie in particular. Yeah, man, go see it.
Yeah,
I might see it again.
I am going to see it again. And look, there are so many scenes. We'll have a spoiler conversation because, you know, obviously don't want to spoil for people who haven't seen it yet. But there are just so many moments in this movie that they hit exactly right when they're supposed to hit. Now, Gunn nailed this trilogy 100%. He has a great legacy to leave in the MCU. He really does. He did the weirdest shit, and he pulled it off. And look, I have to say, you can't forget where he came from to kind of get this, which is the creepy weirdness of this trilogy, like just the creature designs and stuff like that. That's from his Trauma days, right? Like, you can see it on screen. And that level of like snarky weirdness and stuff like that. But his ability to write characters that are so rich is just a unique ability that he has for such a wackadoo type of movie. Like, this movie, in the hands of other people, those characters would just not be that deep. They'd be fun, perhaps, but they wouldn't be as deep as they are. And he should get a lot of credit for being able to pull that off, because it's impressive.
Yeah, man. Look, the DC movie universe, whatever they call it, is in good hands. It's in good hands.
Dude. Yeah, dude.
I for one, this got me so excited for Superman. I can't tell you how much I am looking forward to this new Superman movie. Seeing what this guy has done with all of these comic book movies that he's done. Yeah, kudos, man. Like, bravo to you, James Gunn.
All right, so there you go. Spoiler review will be up a little later this week for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and we will see you guys next time.
See you.